Finding Light in Darkness, Episode 5.5, Holding Space, a Conversation Without Scott. Hey legends, welcome back to Finding Light in Darkness. Now, this episode's going to be a little different. Scott's not with us today. He's okay, but after the stories he's shared over the last few episodes, from losing his partner, to being separated from his daughter for 17 years, to facing addiction and time in jail, well, it's taken a toll. It's a brave thing to open up the way he has, and today, we're holding space for him. I've got a special guest joining me, our resident mental health expert and friend, Patrick. Together, we'll walk through everything we've heard so far, unpack the emotional weight behind Scott's journey, and offer some deeper insight into how trauma, grief, and survival show up in people's lives. So grab a tea, coffee, or whatever gets you settled. The episode starts in about 2.5 minutes. You've got time to get comfy. We'll see you in the booth soon.
Shed a little light, shed a little light on me. I don't like to be a bother, but I'm getting kinda sick of trying to figure this out on my own. It's almost like you're keeping secrets from me. When did your feelings start to drift? Maybe there's something that I've missed. Could you just shed a little light, shed a little light, shed a little light on me? Shed a little light, shed a little light, shed a little light on me. Why'd you go and leave me here all alone in the shadows? Could you just shed a little light, shed a little light, shed a little light on me? Shed a little light on me. No one likes to get hurt. It's just something that we go through. I deserve to know the truth. How come you left me, you left me, you left me, you left me alone in the dark? Could you just shed a little light, shed a little light, shed a little light on me? Shed a little light, shed a little light, shed a little light on me. Why'd you go and leave me here all alone in the shadows? Could you just shed a little light,
Why Scott Isn't Here. Patrick, thanks for joining us. Before we dive into the past episodes, I want to talk about the big thing on everyone's mind. Where's Scott?
Yeah, absolutely. First off, I want to say, it takes a massive amount of courage to speak as openly and honestly as Scott has. What people don't always realize is, telling these stories doesn't just bring up old pain, it relives it.
Patrick, let's start with the obvious. Scott isn't here today, and I know a lot of listeners are probably wondering why. So, I want to take a moment to really acknowledge his courage in stepping back. It's not easy to open up the way he has these past few episodes, but after recording episode 5, when he talked about being at his lowest point, that's a weight nobody should have to carry alone. What most people don't realize is, sharing your deepest struggles isn't just an act of telling, it's an act of reliving. Each word opens the door to wounds that might have started to close, and suddenly, they're bleeding again. Right? And it really hit home for me, because I've been there. I remember when I first tried to talk about my accident. I couldn't make it past the first 10 minutes before I just shut down completely. Not because I didn't want to share, but because I wasn't ready. Scott said something that really hit me. He told me he was sitting in that chair again, reliving the moment when he almost took his life. The meds on the floor, 4 days of no food, no shower, just silence.
Exactly. And what Scott's doing by taking a break, that's not a sign of weakness. It's survival. It's a way to protect yourself when the emotional labor of vulnerability just becomes too much to bear. That's a moment of emotional exhaustion. When you speak your truth, especially about things like loss and trauma, it opens wounds. And sometimes those wounds need time to breathe. That's what Scott's doing today, and that's healthy. It's not weakness, it's self-preservation. Yeah, and I think it's important for everyone listening to know that Scott's still here. He's still fighting. Honestly, stepping back when you know you've hit a limit is one of the bravest things you can do.
Absolutely. Because there's a lot of pressure, especially when someone's story resonates the way Scott's does, to keep putting yourself out there. But you can't give from an empty cup. And after everything he's shared, he's earned this breather. He's still with us. He's still fighting. He just needs a breather. And we'll honor that, just like we honor every part of this journey. And, you know, I keep coming back to something Scott said after episode 5 wrapped. He said, "I didn't want to feel anything. I just wanted quiet." That silence isn't peace. It's dash. It's shutdown.
Right. Speaking your truth doesn't mean the pain disappears. Sometimes it makes the pain louder. But here's the thing. Stepping away doesn't mean Scott's story is over. It just means he's giving himself space to heal before continuing the conversation.
Exactly. And that's what this space is for Scott, and for anyone listening who feels the weight of their own story. We're here to hold it together. The emotional cost of storytelling.
When someone like Scott opens up, it's not just storytelling, it's emotional labor. He's navigating shame, vulnerability, fear, and sometimes even guilt.
Yeah, especially when he talks about losing custody of his daughter. That hit me. You can hear in his voice how much that shaped him.
Separation from a child is devastating, especially for someone already battling mental health issues. It amplifies the trauma. And when Scott reunited with his daughter 17 years later, that's a powerful moment, but also one packed with grief for the lost time.
There's so much that went unsaid in those years, and now he's trying to say it all, not just to her, but to himself, to the world. That's a heavy load.
Exactly. And let's not forget the layer of losing his partner. That grief never fully disappears. You just learn to carry it better, but revisiting those memories to help others? That's brave, beyond words.
Trauma response and addiction. You know, Patrick, the more I reflect on Scott's story from these past episodes, one thing really stands out to me. When he shared about his addiction, it wasn't just about trying to get away from life's struggles. It was about enduring the pain in the only way he knew how.
Exactly. What Scott said about just wanting quiet. That's a textbook example of how trauma manifests. He wasn't looking for a high. He was looking for silence. because his mind was too loud.
Yeah, I felt that when he mentioned being separated from his daughter for 17 years. You could hear how much that haunted him, even now.
And it's no wonder. Being separated from a child is one of the most profound losses someone can go through. For Scott, already battling his mental health, that loss amplified everything. Guilt, shame, grief. They pile up until they become unbearable.
And then, when they reunited, I mean, yes, it was this beautiful moment 17 years in the making, but you could feel it. It still carried so much pain for all the years that were lost.
Absolutely. Trauma isn't just about what happened in the moment. It's also about everything that could have been but wasn't. And for Scott, that means revisiting those missed years, reliving the what-ifs.
Right? And then there's the loss of his partner. That's another kind of grief that just sits with you. You learn to carry it, like you said. But going back, revisiting those memories to share them with the world, that's brave. Honestly, it's kind of heroic, but it's got to take so much out of you.
It does. Because when you open those emotional doors, you're not just telling a story. You're unpacking every ounce of guilt and shame that comes with it. Vulnerability isn't easy. It's exhausting. And Scott, he lets the pain show. That's what makes his story not just relatable, but transformative.
Let's talk more about episode 5, the drug years. Man, that was raw.
What Scott described, using drugs not to party, but to quiet his mind, is textbook trauma response. He wasn't trying to escape life. He was trying to survive pain.
And he said something that floored me. I didn't want to feel anything. I just wanted quiet. That kind of silence, that's not peace. That's shutdown.
Yes, and that's when substances seem like the only way out. But they don't heal. They just mask the wound. The longer you mask it, the deeper it festers.
Which leads to jail, isolation, the cycle he spoke about.
Right. The saddest part is jail became more familiar than the outside world, and that tells us something. The system isn't built to heal. It's built to contain. Scott needed connection, therapy, and belonging, not just punishment.
It's made me think a lot about storytelling in general, like how it's supposed to heal, but also how heavy it can feel to share your truth. I mean, does it always help, or can it sometimes hurt more?
That's a really good question. I think storytelling is a double-edged sword. On one hand, yes, it can be healing. It's an act of reclaiming your narrative. But on the other hand, it opens old wounds. Without the right support systems, those wounds can bleed more than they heal.
So, if someone's in that place right now, like what Scott described, what should they do? How do you start healing when everything feels so raw?
First, don't do it alone. Whether it's therapy, friends, or even community spaces like this podcast, connection is key. Second, give yourself permission to take breaks. You don't have to tell it all at once. And last, be patient. Healing isn't linear. It takes time.
Yeah. And if you're listening right now, maybe hearing your own story in Scott's, just know this. You're not alone. We're here to hold space for you, too. The audience connection. One thing we've seen is how deeply Scott's story is resonating. We've had messages from people who felt seen for the first time.
That's the power of shared vulnerability. When someone hears, "You're not alone," and it feels real, that's a lifeline.
And Scott makes it feel real because it is real. He's not reading from a book. He's reading from his life.
Exactly. And when people hear that kind of honesty, they start opening up too. That's what makes this podcast so important. It's community, it's solidarity.
When the story gets too heavy. Now, you and I have both worked in mental health for a while, and we know when someone needs to pause. I think Scott recognized that too.
Yes. And I want to say this to Scott, if he listens back. You've done more than enough. Taking a step back isn't quitting. It's honoring your own mental health. You can't pour from an empty cup.
Couldn't have said it better. He's not gone, just recharging. And we'll keep holding this space until he's ready. You know, as I think back on Scott's story and everything we've discussed, It really drives home just how powerful vulnerability can be. It's not just about speaking your truth. It's about creating that space for connection. Letting people know they're not alone in their struggles. Just like Patrick was saying, it's about having the support to take those first steps toward healing. That's why Scott's decision to step back, to pause, it really resonates with me. He's showing us something crucial, that self-care isn't selfish. It's vital. You can't pour from an empty cup. And if you've ever felt like taking a break means giving up, let me tell you, it doesn't. Not even close. I've been there myself. When my wife left, I didn't think I'd make it through. Couldn't see a way forward. But, reaching out to my mates, that changed everything. They reminded me I wasn't standing alone, that there was, room to lean on others when I needed it. And I think that's the essence of what we're trying to build here, this podcast, this community. It's okay to feel lost. It's okay to need help. What matters is finding the courage to take that first step, to reach out and let someone hold space for you, even when you can't hold it for yourself. What listeners need to know.
If you're listening right now and Scott's story mirrors yours, please know, healing is not linear. You'll have good days. You'll have days like the one Scott described. The meds, the silence. Those are real.
But there's also this. You're still here, and that means something.
Absolutely. And if Scott's bravery has helped you hold on, reach out. Tell someone. Start the conversation. Healing starts with a whisper.
And if you're struggling, don't forget. We've got support info at the end of every episode. Please use it. You matter. Looking ahead. So, what's next?
Scott will be back in the next episode, but we're going to keep supporting him and building on this foundation. Each episode from here will keep diving deep, but also help build up.
Yep. We're not here to dwell in the darkness. We're here to find the light, even when it flickers.
And sometimes that light starts with someone else saying, "I've been there."
Wrap up in final words. To everyone listening, thank you for standing with Scott, for standing with us. This isn't just a podcast, it's a shared journey.
And thank you for giving us space to talk today. We hope it's given you a bit more understanding and a bit more hope.
Before we go, here are the resources we always share. If you're in crisis, call Lifeline at 131114 or reach Beyond Blue at 130-022-4636. If it's an emergency, call 000 now. And if you want to leave a comment or a question, head to your podcast platform. Spotify listeners, check the poll and leave your vote. If you'd like a private confidential chat with Scott, you can reach him directly at email chatwithscottfindthelight@gmail.com. That's it from us today. We'll see you in the next episode. And don't forget,
there's always a little light. Keep following it.
Stay bright, stay safe, and always look forward.
Soul searching, fall apart, tunnel vision, hiding in the dark. Well, I ain't gonna holler before I really bleed. Salvation, a quick fix remedy. You said I never could change. I thought I never could change. They said I never could change. Damn right, never would. Leave the light on. Leave the light on. Just leave the light on. Yeah, leave the light on. If I'll ever change, Nashville, Tennessee, while the cold here in Sweden got the best of me. Well, haven't I got better things to think about than that? Like deadlines, rent's due, bills pile up, family day in, day out, the clock's mocking me, getting old, oh God, the kids deserve so much more than this, gotta get rich. You said I never could, ever could change. I thought I never could, ever could change. They said I never could, ever could change.